Hello and welcome. I'm John Peters, Commercial Director for Hooper Enterprise Associates Limited, or HEAL Planning as we're better known. This video is a case study detailing a recent enforcement planning appeal we undertook for a client who had built an outbuilding on their property in the Greenbelt and subsequently had a retrospective application refused by East Herts Council, a planning appeal dismissed by the Planning Inspectorate, a revised application to address the refusal reasons refused to be determined by East Herts Council, and the client had been advised by their planning agent to take the building down. Before I start, I'd like to clarify that the client has given us full authority to use this information in this video. This case started for us when we were contacted by our client because they'd received an enforcement notice issued by East Herts Council following a series of applications and appeals that had failed. The client wanted to ensure that there were no more options prior to taking the building down, as they were being advised by their planning agent and in compliance with the enforcement notice that had been issued. This case had quite a large amount of history, starting with a previous application for an outbuilding that, during the permission, the local authority removed the client's permitted development rights from the entire site, which would have allowed them to build this building without the need for permission. The site is also located within the Greenbelt, which means additional policies are in place to restrict development. The building was predominantly used to store equipment for maintaining the surrounding woods and drying logs. The client was not aware that this type of building would need a separate planning permission, and if the site's permitted development rights had not been removed, it would not have had to. A retrospective application was submitted to East Herts Council on the 7th of February 2019 and refused on the 4th of April 2019. East Herts' refusal stated that the development constitutes an inappropriate development in the Greenbelt. The proposal would also result in further harm by loss of openness. They also state that they feel very special circumstances had not been identified that would clearly outweigh the harm by reason of inappropriateness. The incursion into the countryside and the departure from the existing grain of development in the locality. East Herts stated that the proposal would be therefore contrary to policies GBR1, DES3, DES4 and HOU 12 of the East Herts District Plan 2018 and the National Planning Policy Framework. An appeal to the Planning Inspectorate was produced by our client's then planning agent, which was subsequently dismissed on the 3rd of April 2020 in a 5-page document that effectively stated the building would affect the openness of the Greenbelt, although the inspector also stated in the report that the building was screened by the woods and is unlikely to be viewed. Off the back of that appeal dismissal, East Herts Council served an enforcement notice stating that they believed that a breach in planning control had occurred and inappropriate development within the Greenbelt had occurred. The enforcement notice from East Hertfordshire District Council stated that to comply, our client should 1. Permanently remove the building from the land marked in the red area on their map. 2. Remove from the land all the materials following compliance. No further options were made available on that. The enforcement notice was issued on the 12th of August 2020 and the client was given until the 9th of September 2020 to submit an appeal to the Planning Inspectorate, or the enforcement will become active and would need to be complied with by the 9th of March 2021. Local authorities have the right to serve an enforcement notice at any point should they believe a breach in planning control has occurred. We highly recommend to all clients to contact us immediately, as the more time we have to produce the enforcement appeal, the stronger the case can be, and should we find issues that need to be overcome, we have more time to do this. It is vitally important to have the most comprehensive and robust enforcement appeal produced to provide you with your best chance of success. Attention to detail is absolutely paramount. In this case, the appeal document was 26 pages deep and went into great detail in relation to the planning policies, legislation, permitted rights, and by also referring back to the previous retrospective application refusal by East Herts Council and the previous inspector's dismissal. Additionally, we produced a Section 106 agreement along with a reduced scheme which was submitted under the Wheatcroft principle. We also offered East Herts Council the option to approve the lesser scheme, but they declined to determine the application, stating the right not to do so under Section 70C. Because the appeal includes an appeal under Grounds A, the client had to pay the planning fees to the council in order for a Grounds A appeal to be considered. The fees in this case were £924. The council has the right to waive these fees, but it is highly unlikely they will, even if you've paid the fees in a previous application. The fees required are always detailed on the enforcement notice documents and vary depending on the development, but must be paid prior to the initial appeal deadline, which is in most cases 28 days from when it was issued. As an organisation, Heal Planning is one of the leading appeal specialists with both dedicated in-house planning and legal teams whose job it is to win your case. Both these skill sets are invaluable to produce a robust and compelling case to gain a win. You won't find many organisations in our industry that have both of these skill sets, a planning and a legal team, and it's most definitely a major reason why we have the success rate we do. Especially with enforcement cases, you need to consider what is at risk and what type of skill set and level of team you want working on your case. During the appeal process, East Herts Council are given a timescale to respond to our enforcement appeal document by the Planning Inspectorate, which results in us having to produce, in the vast majority of cases, a second document to deal with the local authority's enforcement team's response. This is perfectly normal with enforcement appeal cases for this to happen. With enforcement case appeals, it is also vitally important that all responses are made at the required times to ensure the appeal proceeds without hitch. In many cases, can fail where the importance of the response are not understood or simply not known about. As an organisation that deals with enforcement cases continually, Heal Planning has the knowledge and infrastructure not only to produce a comprehensive and robust appeal, but to manage the process throughout from beginning to end. The inspector produced a 5-page report as part of their decision and stated that the appeal is allowed and the enforcement quashed and the planning permission is granted. East Herts Council submitted the application for costs during the appeal, which we responded with our own costs application for our client. Both of these were dismissed. Our client was over the moon with the result and now knows his equipment is stored safely away when not in use. If you're watching this video, then the chances are that you have received an enforcement notice and you're considering your options to appeal. Without appealing your planning enforcement notice, you cannot gain the permission needed to quash the notice and retain the development or use. You'll find a host of videos about various types of planning appeals and the service we offer on our website. If you'd like a free no obligation consultation with myself or a member of our team, please call us on 01743 369 911 or email enforcement.appeals@planningappealsuk.com and give your appeal its best chance of success. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to speaking with you soon.